Hey, what up? This is Corey Taylor, and you are watching Heavy Consequence.
You just completed a solo tour, and your really great album last year, CMFD, your solo album, and you were one of the first major artists to go on tour as restrictions eased in the United States. And I find it was actually really cool because I think you really predicted things in the early part of the pandemic. You said something like there was going to be some paranoia, and then there was going to be an explosion of live entertainment. And I've been quoting you since then, even when I talk to other artists. And now you see it, like tours and festivals are getting announced left and right. Foo Fighters just played a sold-out Madison Square Garden. And can you tell, having just completed like a month-long tour, can you tell me what that experience was like, playing in front of fans again for both you and the fans?
I mean, it was interesting, even the way we set it up, because I knew if nobody took that first step, nobody was going to, and for me, it was more about trying to put on something cool for everyone, because we've all been stuck in our caves for a year and a half, man, and we just needed that release, So I knew if I didn't take the chance, nobody else was going to. But I mean, even right up until that first day in Tempe, Arizona, man, we were all like, how's this going to happen? Like, how's this going to work? And even when the show was done and those shows were in the rearview mirror, we were keeping an eye on numbers in those cities. I mean, we were so determined to make sure that we were doing it right, that we, in a lot of ways, we didn't start enjoying the tour until about halfway through it, man, because we were all like, what's happening, So it was good, man. I mean, all you had to do was see the excitement on the audience's face to realize that it was the right thing to do, even with putting the restrictions up in like all of these different places, dealing with certain promoters who were trying to find ways to be shiesty and get around it. I mean, people don't realize it, man. I didn't make a dime on this tour, not one. It was more important to me to get this thing going than it was to make money. I mean, and now that we see that we can do it and we can do it right, and people are willing to be smart and safe about it, that, we're seeing this explosion of tours being announced. I'm doing another leg that's full capacity. But I think because we've shown that people are willing to do it and do it safe and are reticent to do anything to trigger another, like super spreading event or whatever, I think now it's the right time to really start doing stuff like that. So I mean, and to know that I was a piece in that puzzle, I'm pretty proud of that we did something for everyone and we did it right.
And yeah, you have the other leg coming up this summer. Slipknot's going on tour in the fall, and those obviously are going to be much larger scale. There's been kind of a debate over this kind of vaccine passport. What are your feelings on that moving forward? Do you think that's a viable plan? Is it an invasion of privacy?
I mean, people act like getting a vaccine is, signing a deal with the devil. I mean, it's been so politicized and so spun out of control in these conspiratorial echo chambers, and that people forget that you can go find all the info that you want, online to educate yourself about everything about these, these vaccines and whatnot. And what they refuse to understand is that there are certain countries you can't go to without proper vaccines. There are certain, kids can't go to school without vaccines, which is absolutely correct. The fact that these things have been demonized and almost, to the point of, these gnarly conspiracy theories. Well, no wonder people afraid of it, because they're listening to the wrong people. Do I think it should be a requirement for people to be vaccinated to go to shows? Yes and no. I mean, here's the thing. This shouldn't be a mandate, but guess what, man? If you're going to put people at risk of getting sick, you shouldn't want to go to a show, man. That's common sense. And if you do put people at risk, then you're a fucking asshole. And you shouldn't be let in anyway. So for me, it's a common sense thing, but we don't have a lot of common sense these days, man.
Yeah. And I did want to talk about Slipknot's tour. Obviously, you talked about your own experience on your solo tour, but Slipknot is to me, Slipknot's a cathartic experience. Pandemic, no pandemic. You go to for the last 20 years, going to a Slipknot show is cathartic. But can you imagine, are you envisioning that first time you step on stage with the band and that sea of fans out there and what that's going to feel like?
It's crazy, man. Like, I keep thinking about what's going to happen on this first show. And like, I'm almost terrified. It's like one of those things where I'm like, oh God, are people going to explode? I mean, because you have to remember, the last time we played was over a year and a half ago. So by the time we go on stage, it will have been almost 2 years since our last show. Because the last time we played was in Europe I want to say it was February of last year. So, by the time we hit the stage in September, I'm just worried about our backs and our necks and trying to stay in shape to get up. Because if we get up there and we do one hard slam, we're like, oh God, it's been a minute. Oh, I need a second. It's the thing that's going to make it for me is to see the look on people's faces. That's the most important part, like us coming together again, doing exactly what we need to do together. That's going to be special. So whether they explode or they just watch or they sing every word or they do all of the above, it's going to be rad.
And not trying to pry, but it has been mentioned recently, Clown and maybe a couple of others have said that there is starting work on a new Slipknot album. Obviously, you can't give me the long answer, but like, what can you tell me maybe in a couple of sentences what fans can expect?
It's it's an expansion of where we were at on We Are Not Your Kind. This band has always prided itself on expanding boundaries, expanding our musical vision. It's got the heavy. It's got there's so many different elements on this one, man, that let's just say I'm really excited to get the vocals going on it. Like, I've got all the lyrics written and whatnot. I'm starting to fine tune everything. It's going to be interesting, man. I think I talked about it in somewhere else where this is the first time in a long time on a Slipknot album where I'm not just talking about things from my point of view. I'm trying to look at things from other people's point of view and tell different stories again. Like, I'm kind of getting back to that. And it feels very freeing. It's very liberating, man. And it's going to be rad. There's a couple songs on here that people are going to be like, there's definitely some pit openers that are going to fucking freak people out. It's going to be rad.